You're listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1490 WGCH. So we all know what's going on with the economy. You know that the prospects are bleak. If you were to lose your job tomorrow, or your business closed, or your company closed, what would you do? Well, I've got WL Laney on the line right now talking about how to go from lunch bag carrying to wage worm to your own boss. WL, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Kerry. Thank you very much. And you're doing well, I trust?
Correct. And in here you're saying that, we got millions of people unemployed, underemployed, or unhappily employed. And, they're living for the weekend. If you're living for the weekend, what do you do to change this? I mean, if you feel trapped, which effectively millions of people do, what can you do? How do you do it?
Okay, Kerry, I talk about doing an attitude transplant. The only difference between success and failure is our attitude and how we view ourselves and view the world around us. The optimist looks at the glass and says it's half full. The pessimist looks at the glass and says it's half empty. I say forget whether it's half full or half empty. Go to work on filling it up. If you can fill up your glass, you will have an abundance or an overflowing success in your life. So if you lose your job, I have a friend by the name of Phil. At age 58, he lost his job, and the first thing that he thought was, free at last, thank God I'm free at last. And his goal was to go out and start his own business. And, that's a positive way of looking at a job loss. Too many people look at the job loss and think, oh, woe is me, what am I going to do? I'm 50 years old, nobody's going to hire me, and they go into deep depression. And again, the difference is attitude, and we can control our attitude. We can make the changes, and that's what I outline in my book, A Self-Administered Attitude Transplant, is how do I overcome those subconscious beliefs that I'm born with, raised with, developed over a long period of time. How do I change that to something that is going to allow me to be successful either on the job that I've got so I don't get fired, or if I do get fired, see that as an opportunity to go forward and build my own business. That's what this country is all about. It's opportunity.
Sure thing. And you've actually done this. You're not just talking the talk, you've walked the walk.
Well, I moved from the migrant worker shack as a child into the big house on the corner, if you will. But yes, I've pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, and I've had to do a lot without some of the normal advantages that you would think that would be necessary. And I found that you don't need to have all the advantages. You need to have a goal. You need to have dedication. You need to have a willingness to fall down, get back up, dust yourself off, and keep right on going.
All right. So you're growing up in a migrant shack, obviously extreme poverty, and something happens to bring you to this. What happened?
Well, the thing that happened for me is a spiritual thing. People from the church came out and got me and took me to Sunday school and taught me a lot of Bible verses and things like I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me, which is really the same as what W. Clement Stone was saying when he said, what the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And so you start with a hope, if you will, and then build on that hope. As you build the hope, you begin to have belief or faith that, yes, I can do it. Kerry did it. If Kerry did it, I can do it. And that faith will cause you to take a positive step of action, some kind of a step of action. That step of action yields a positive result, and now I've got more hope. And it's a cycle for success that you build on.
So You know, people say this to me when I have motivational, inspirational type people as yourself on, is, you have money, you have options. I've just got this crummy job. I can't do anything else but that. And just having faith in God doesn't seem to be enough sometimes.
No, it's not. Because it does take the action, Kerry. When I was 9, I went out and started working to get my own school clothes, and if there was any spending money to be had, I earned it. I mowed lawns, I washed cars, I raked leaves, I worked in the apple orchards, I worked bucking hay, I did anything that I could find. And I can just tell you as a side note, the worst job you can possibly get is cleaning the manure out of the duck pen. But
I never tried that one myself there.
I don't want to again. I can tell you that.
That's funny,
but you do what you have to do.
Isn't that what it's about? Right.
Yes, and this is one of the things that I teach in my how to start a business workshop. Is you don't have to have a lot of money. Let's say you're going to start a service business. Just start it. You don't have to have the fancy vehicles. You don't have to have a big marketing campaign and lots of promotional materials. Just whatever it is. If you're going to start a pool cleaning service, go next door and talk to your neighbor and ask him if you can clean his pool. Get started. Start doing what it is that you want to do. You'll earn money with that. I mean, I built a huge business, and I did it all from service, going out and doing the job. You get up and you or at least what I did, I got up first thing in the morning and worked on the computer, worked on designing, developing the various components of the business, until 9, 10 o'clock, and then I'd go out and I'd work all day doing the job, earning the money. When I got home, then I'd work until 10, 11, 12, maybe even 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on what stage I was in, doing all of the back things, all of the promotional, all the development things that needed to be done to launch that business. And so I launched it successfully, and now people can take that model. I give them a complete business package, Kerry, give them everything they need, and they can go out and make $100,000 first year. So you can do it if you just have that dedication to get in and do whatever it takes.
Yeah, so doing whatever it takes, obviously, a lot of people have never even thought about it. How do you figure out what to do? How do you figure out what it is that you want to do and that is going to make you money?
Kerry, I have some very distinct attitudes about that. A lot of people say, well, figure out a way to turn your hobby into a profitable business, and that may work for some, but sometimes you need to just look for need. I can use my business, one of my businesses as an example, the hairstyling industry. The stylist scissors get dull, and the existing equipment damage the scissors as they sharpen them. So when the stylists are complaining about that, then you see, okay, here's a need. What can I do to meet that need? And there's needs all around, and just keep your eyes open. Look for how can I make an improvement? How can I make this person's job easier, or get them a service or product at a lower price? And those are the things that you want to look for. Now, in addition to that, I believe you need to have a passion for what you do, and you have to have a compassion for your prospective customer and a dedication to meeting the needs of that customer. And if you have those three things, you can build a very successful business.
Mm-hmm. So you find a need that's there, and then you figure out a way to satisfy it, which is kind of like build a better mousetrap. The world will beat a path to your door, but you've got to be able to communicate to the world, let the world know that you've got that better mousetrap.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
because they're not going to beat a path to your door. You have to beat your path to their door with your product or your service and make it convenient for your customer.
So WL, obviously you've worked with lots of people. Tell us about some people you've worked with. Tell us a story about somebody you worked with who was down on their luck, didn't think anything could change, and you helped them realize that it could.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that, Kerry. The person I'd like to use as an example, his name is Bill. He was a top-paid executive making extremely good income. He lost his job at age 58. His first response to that was, free at last. Thank God I'm free at last. Because he had that attitude, I'm going to build my own business. Well, he tried, and he failed. He didn't resources. He's a great guy. He had great knowledge and lots of experience, but he still failed trying to set that business up. And due in a large part to the lack of resources or whatever. And finally, he got to the point where he was about to lose his home. He had done some work for me in my business, so he knew about our scissors sharpening and sales business. And initially, of course, he doesn't want to sharpen scissors. Too good for that. He's a top-paid executive, for crying out loud. You can't expect him to go out and sharpen scissors. Well, finally, he got to the point where he was desperate. He bought my package. He went out and turned his financial life around in the first 30 days, and then decided that, hey, I really like calling on these stylists. This is a fun business. And so he really had a huge financial turnaround. Then I hired him back into management. Now he's got his sharpening business up for sale. And the whole point of what he was able to do was because he was able to do whatever it takes. I had an opportunity for him, but he still had to do that. So if you Bill today, he's glad he met me. And
I'll bet he
it
is.
really works for me because that's what I'm about, is trying to help people. I told you earlier, you need to have a passion and a compassion and then a dedication. I'm passionate about what I do, a huge compassion for the guys that are out there today. They're out of work, and it's like the financial turnaround that's going on in the stock market right now. That's a jobless economic recovery, and it's great if you're still in the stock market, but if a lot of people who sold their 401k or rolled it over into a fund to try to save their home because they're out of work for 2 years, they need something, and I can help either on the attitude side or by providing a business opportunity that they can just step into. Call me today. I can have you in class next month, and you go home from class and you can be profitable immediately.
Yeah, it makes a total sense. And, at least when you're in business for yourself, it's not perfect. There's a lot of responsibilities that come with it, and you have to meet a payroll if you've got employees. There's a lot of things involved there that you need to think about. But at least when you do it, you're more or less the master of your own fate.
Yes, you are. And the advice that I want people to hear very clearly, and that is, it doesn't matter what the opportunity. Kerry, there's all kinds of business opportunities where people are advertising that for a few dollars they promise you these great results, and you can find yourself sitting on the beach sipping martinis and watching your bank book just fill up automatically. And that's nonsense. If you're going to have a business that's going to generate a value for the customer, it's going to require some effort on your part, and you have to be willing to work if you're going to be succciessul.
So in other words,
that's what I've done all my life.
So in other words, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Absolutely not. And I've been to a few free lunches, and frankly, I'd rather pay to go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying, and makes complete sense. So obviously, WL people are going to want to find out more. They're going to want to buy your book. What's the name of your book again?
Okay, I've got actually 3 books. The one that I've just finished is the self. And I can't even think of the name of my book. Self-administered attitude transplant, which teaches people how to make the internal changes so that you can be successful. You can have a full glass rather than looking at it half full or half empty. So that's the self-administered attitude transplant. The other one is the 6-figure sharpener, how you can earn $100,000 or more sharpening and selling hairstyling scissors. And the easiest way to get a hold of me is just go to my website, WL Laney, LANEY.com. And there's a video there and opportunity where, in fact, I'd like to do something for our listeners and just Kerry, the next 20 people that call in at 303-217-8660, I'll give them a free copy of the book.
Oh, that's so nice of you, and that's exclusive to Financial Survival Network listeners. And WL, we really appreciate your being on here. And we'll have a link up to the interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com, so check it out there. WL, we wish you the best of luck with your books, and must be exciting times.
It's a lot of fun. We live in a great land of opportunity. Just take a hold and hang on for a very successful ride. Thanks, Kerry.
Great advice. Thanks, WL. This show is sponsored by Sandstorm Gold, a gold streaming company. They provide capital to their mining partners that helps get mines built and into production. Sandstorm can then purchase a portion of the production at a low fixed price per ounce. This way, Sandstorm avoids the risks and headaches of exploring, permitting, building, and operating a mine, but still gets much of the benefit at a greatly reduced risk. There's no capital calls or obligation to invest additional sums. Sandstorm leaves the job of building and operating the gold mines to its partners while using its expertise to supply them with financial support. Nolan Watson and David Oram, Sandstorm's founders, were the first 2 employees of Silver Wheat, which is the first metal streaming company and now the largest in the world. Since 2009, Sandstorm has built an 8 gold stream portfolio with 3 NSR gold royalties. Its market cap is over $1 billion, and it spun out a sister company called Sandstorm Metals and Energy. It's listed on the TSX Venture. Symbol is SND. Sandstorm will purchase approximately 30,000 ounces of gold in 2012, growing to over 60,000 ounces by 2015 at an average cost of just $400 per ounce, while the market price closes in on $2,000 per ounce. Sandstorm Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol SAND and on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol SSL.